Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, has been sentenced to life imprisonment. The cruelty of the moment is not only in the sentence itself but also in the fact that government prosecutors openly requested the death penalty. A question rises above the noise of propaganda and fear: what exactly is Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's crime? His true crime is exposure. He revealed the hidden agenda of Britain and the Fulani hegemony. He exposed the illegitimacy of a failed state and articulated it boldly on Radio Biafra. He warned the people of an Islamic invasion, of the steady march toward a nationwide Sharia agenda. He spoke what many already knew but were terrified to utter. In 2009, Nnamdi Kanu launched Radio Biafra in response to the emerging threat of Boko Haram terrorism and the growing activities of Fulani jihadist groups. At the time, his initial position was not secession, but restructuring, advocating a system in which Nigeria's regions would manage their own security and resources while contributing to a central government. His argument was rooted in the belief that centralized power had failed to protect lives or govern equitably. When these calls for restructuring were ignored, and as violence expanded unchecked, Kanu concluded that the Nigerian state was unwilling or unable to protect certain populations. Foreseeing what he described as an emerging Fulani hegemony, he shifted his advocacy towards self-determination, framing it as a means of preserving life rather than pursuing conflict. He was later arrested in Lagos with broadcasting equipment, an act the government treated as a grave offense, arguably with more urgency than ongoing terrorist attacks. Under President Buhari's administration, he was detained and charged. In 2017, after being granted bail by the courts, the Nigerian military carried out an operation in his hometown that many observers described as excessive. During the incident, more than 30 civilians were killed. Kanu narrowly escaped, after which he went underground. These events marked a turning point, transforming what began as a media-based political movement into an international human rights and self-determination issue. A few years later, state operatives kidnapped him from Kenya, an act that violated international law, diplomatic ethics, and every principle of human rights. The same government that violated international law to abduct him now claims the moral authority to prosecute him for speaking on radio on the absurd grounds of terrorism. In doing so, it makes a caricature of justice and turns the largest black country on earth into a global disgrace. This is the same government that imported over 1 million jihadists from the Sahel, armed them, and unleashed them on communities from 2014 until now. The same government that forgives captured Islamic terrorists and Boko Haram members, rehabilitates them, pays them, and recruits them into the Nigerian military. The same government that sits at negotiation tables with Boko Haram, grants them amnesty, and dines with them, while hunting down unarmed youths agitating for self-determination. This is the same government that ordered soldiers to stand down while convoys of armed terrorists traveled from state to state. The same government that armed 8 different Islamic terror groups, yet disarmed every lawful citizen, leaving the entire country at the mercy of the Islamic terrorists. In Igbo land, every mile is a military checkpoint, a network of intimidation and humiliation. Meanwhile, terrorists traverse the north and middle belt freely on motorcycles, executing Christians, burning villages, and kidnapping schoolchildren in broad daylight. The two meanings of his sentence. The sentencing of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu carries 2 symbolic implications. First, it is a declaration that all Igbos are sentenced to life imprisonment in Nigeria, that they are a conquered people living under an Islamic occupation. Second, it is a message to all Nigerians: you are prisoners in your own country. Because Nnamdi Kanu spoke for the masses, for justice, for good governance, for restructuring, but when all that failed, he advocated peaceful separation, just as General Odumegwu Ojukwu did in his time. He spoke the inconvenient truth that Nigeria's regions are dangerously incompatible. Sharia and Western egalitarianism cannot coexist under one political roof. He insisted that each people be allowed to thrive in their own organic cultural environment instead of being forced together in a union soaked with blood and mutual suspicion. The Sokoto message, the worst indignity yet, is that Nnamdi Kanu was sentenced in Abuja but shipped to serve his punishment in Sokoto. This was no administrative decision but a symbolic message. Sokoto represents the heart of the Islamic Fulani Caliphate founded by Usman Dan Fodio. Sending Mazi Nnamdi Kanu there is an attempt to parade him as a trophy, something they could not achieve with Odumegwu Ojukwu, the former president of the Republic of Biafra. What they failed to accomplish in the 1970s, to publicly humiliate and execute an Igbo leader, they now wish to enact through Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. For the Caliphate, this is a political victory. For the Muslim leadership, it is a triumph. And for the Yoruba political elites who forged alliances with the northern Fulani oligarchy, it stands as evidence of a pact fulfilled. Much like Pontius Pilate sending the Messiah to Herod, not out of justice but to mend a fragile political alliance, so too has Mazi Nnamdi Kanu been delivered to Sokoto, to seal an unholy partnership. Luke chapter 23 verse 12. In both stories, power was preserved through betrayal, and a life was offered as the currency of political reconciliation. An innocent man was sacrificed to maintain the grip on a crumbling empire. Ex-President Obasanjo gave the caliphate 12 Sharia states. Tinubu is delivering the entire Nigeria to them, including Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the voice of Biafran people. The irony is bitter and unforgivable, yet this victory is hollow. It is delivered by a government that has completely lost legitimacy, one that stands directly connected to massacres, kidnappings, and the steady unraveling of every civil structure. Every corner of Nigeria is under siege. No one is safe. The killings continue daily, driven by the same Islamic ideology unleashed by Usman Dan Fodio in his 19th century jihad. The government disarmed the people while terrorists remained heavily armed. Army generals are ambushed in broad daylight by ISWAP, and the government issues silence as its only response. Mind you, Nnamdi Kanu is a British citizen, yet the Nigerian government went to Kenya to kidnap him, yet Britain did not intervene. This is because Nnamdi Kanu was speaking about Nigeria, a British colonial creation that is still being exploited with the help of Fulani hegemony, unlike the case of Umaru Dikko in 1984, a non-citizen for whom Britain intervened. This exposes the illusion of citizenship and its selective treatment and priorities. The world runs on no permanent friends, only permanent interests. It shows that anyone can be sacrificed when interests are threatened. Even though Nigeria broke the law by kidnapping a British citizen without due process, Britain was okay with it. These unholy alliances between Britain and Islamists are very alarming, the very people who seek to destroy Western culture and install Sharia instead. The same policy is being pursued at home in Britain, allowing opposing Sharia culture to challenge and change Britain's Western Christian culture from within, whether intentionally or ignorantly. Go to Britain, and you would hardly recognize it. A nation that once represented the heart of Western civilization has, in many ways, been transformed in the name of inclusion. Yet Saudi Arabia, regarded as a beacon of Islam, has preserved itself as a 100% Muslim culture without compromise or apology. Meanwhile, Western nations fear being called out for not allowing opposing civilizations to infiltrate their culture. The same thing they are doing in Nigeria is happening to them as well. What an insanity. The Nigeria paradox. The Nigerian government spent millions of dollars trying to have Western powers designate Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and IPOB as a terrorist organization, but they failed woefully because the Western world understood that IPOB and Nnamdi Kanu are seeking independence for the battered people and have the right to do so. Meanwhile, this same government shields and fails to proscribe killer Fulani herdsmen and other Islamic terrorist groups as terrorists, because those groups are treated as freedom fighters for Allah, while IPOB, agitating for its own nation against the criminal enterprise called Nigeria, is targeted to be crushed. Only in Nigeria is agitation for separation criminalized as treason, even though it is enshrined in the military constitution under which they are currently governed, a banana republic. Yet they went ahead to abduct Nnamdi Kanu and sentence him in a kangaroo court, turning him into a prisoner of conscience. Today, the same Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has received honorary citizenship and been named a Goodwill Ambassador by the state of Georgia, USA. The news reads as follows: as of January 2026, the US state of Georgia granted honorary citizenship and named Nnamdi Kanu, the detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, a Goodwill Ambassador. This symbolic recognition was signed by Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger and presented on January 23, 2026, by State Representative Gab Okoye. However, Abubakar Malami, the very individual who orchestrated the kidnapping of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, has since been indicted for stealing billions of naira, sponsoring terrorism, and possessing massive weaponry, possibly for terrorist activities. Thank you for listening to the first part of this chapter. To continue, get the full book, Nigeria is Dead, A Zombie State, available on Amazon, or simply scan the QR code on your screen. If you found this content informative, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more thought-provoking content. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next chapter.